Hi there, David. Good to see you.
Hi, Darmish.
Hi there. Could we start off with team news for the game, first of all, please?
Well, do you want me to give you the team, Darmish?
If you want, or just
Nah. It's the usual sort of thing you get from the managers, yeah. Got as many players are fit and available, and hopefully we'll be fine.
I might just ask you, David, about Yarmolenko. Have you spoken to him? Is he back with the group? Is he training?
He came back in yesterday. He done a bit of light training yesterday. I had a good chat with him. Obviously, he's really upset with the whole situation, which many people aren't, especially the people from Ukraine. So we won't rush him. I've asked him to come in today, see how he feels, and you know, if he feels fine and up to it, then he'll travel with the team. If he doesn't, then we'll give him some more days off.
So you'll make that decision when you see him today, will you?
Yeah. But as I say, it's a daily ongoing thing. You know, I think things can change very quickly, but we'll give him the chance to go with his own feelings.
Can you give us an insight into how he was when you did speak to him?
Well, as I said, he's really upset. He's got family members in Ukraine. He's obviously got lots of family members in Ukraine and friends, and you know, he's worried for everybody, and realises the difficulty what's going on, and he's a long way away and he can't do an awful lot about it. So he's upset, the boy, and quite rightly so.
I must just ask you about the game. Alvin Martinez says that this West Ham team is comparable to some of the great teams that he was involved in, and a trophy could set this West Ham team, he says, on the path to greatness. Do you believe the FA Cup is a realistic chance for you to do just that?
Well, let's be fair, Darmish. Every manager wants to win a trophy, so we're no different from anybody else. Everything's the same. I look more at how we're going to continue to try and build the club, and what I think that we're going to have to do to keep getting closer to winning trophies. I think we're on a good track at the moment, but I think the next couple of years will be the important time, because we're trying to build a side which is getting stronger, and if we can do it sooner, great. We've made a really swift move from the sort of a team round the bottom of the Premier League to a team a bit closer to the top end, which is terrific. We're involved in Europe. We had a decent run in the Carabao Cup. We're trying to get a good run in the FA Cup if we can as well.
Last couple for me. It's obviously well publicised that there were no signings in January. You've now got 6 games in 19 days in 3 different competitions, if my maths is correct. Yeah. Do you believe you have the squad to cope, and do you think you'll have to prioritise in any way?
Well, I think it'd be unfair, Darmish, just to mention, as I think there's a lot of clubs didn't buy players in January for different reasons. So we were very serious in trying to bring players into the club in January, but for different reasons it didn't happen. So we know we're a little bit shorter than we'd like to be. The squad I've had at the moment has done a brilliant job in the last 2 years. I've got no reason why I wouldn't think they would do a brilliant job in the coming next 3 months between now and the end of the season.
Just a final one from me. It's on Kurt Zouma and his performances. He's obviously been criticised of late. What have you said to him to ensure that he's mentally right and to get those performances you have got out of him?
Well, first and foremost, we just want Kurt to play like he has done prior to the incident, which obviously we're all very regretful for. But overall, I think that he's had to focus himself. You know, it's a situation he's put himself in, but he's obviously been mentally tough enough to get himself through it as well at the moment, and played very well in the games.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Darmish. Simon at BBC.
Hi, David.
Hi, Simon.
Hope you're okay.
Good.
Just one more on Yarma. How are the club helping him in terms of, you know, every day, every morning he must switch on the TV and be worried for what's happening? We're hearing reports about what the Russians might be doing next. Is there anything tangible that the club can do to help him, or is he just kind of observing it the same way everybody else is, but clearly from a more personal perspective?
Yeah, Simon, it's a really difficult situation for us as well, because we'd like to offer him more help and more support if we can. But we don't really know what we can do either. I think it's the same with the world. I think the world's trying to give Ukraine as much support as they can, and all we can hope for is that the sanctions somewhere along the line start to take its toll on Russia, because none of us want to go to war with any country. So us personally, with Yarmolenko, we're trying to give him, we're trying to deal with him. We're speaking to him most days. I have to say the players at the club were great with him yesterday. They tried to get him back in and integrate him and make sure they felt really welcome and that we were thinking about him. So Andy's family, I have to say. But it's very, very little we can do. We just have to try and support them the best we can.
And clearly UEFA and FIFA finally got their act together yesterday and took action, and that did affect your competition, even though it didn't affect West Ham. I'm guessing that just on a wider perspective, you agree with the sanctions that have been laid down, because nobody would, I assume, want to play a Russian team at the moment.
No, I totally agree, and I think that I actually think that they could have probably been done even quicker. But I think UEFA worked really hard. They've got rid of games. They've moved to Champions League final, and football is such a powerful tool all around the world. Every country, every continent watches the Premier League, and because of that, I think it's really important that, and the Champions League, I have to say, I think it's really important that we take action and make sure that they are isolated completely. And I'm not a politician, but that's how I feel about the football side.
And just on West Ham, and you talked about the progress and the steps still to go. Since the club got to the final in 2006, they've only reached the quarter-final of the FA Cup twice. Clearly, they've not had many European campaigns. For a club of the size of West Ham, would you expect there to be more tangible reward for what the club have done on the pitch? And is that an example of where you want to move the club to? Not necessarily up to the likes of, I don't know, Man United or Chelsea or whatever, but certainly the next group down, that there's no reason why you shouldn't be reaching quarter-finals quite regularly.
Yeah, and I really hope that is the way it goes. But every football club wants to reach those heights, Simon. It's not just West Ham. And I think I can quickly think off the top of my head, I'll not name the clubs, but a lot of clubs who've had big falls from grace, really big clubs similar to West Ham at lower levels and dropped down. But here, since we've come in, we've had a really good year. We've been involved. We're in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. We've now got to a good stage in the FA Cup. We're in Europe again. So we're trying to fight in all fronts here. And I've got to say, I think the club's doing a great job. We hope to strengthen. We hope to be able to do it even better in years to come. We want to be more around the club competitions. But I think even through history, if you look, you tend to find that it's been the top teams what have tended to win the competitions. Not always. So we have to try and get ourselves in a position where we can be more in chance of getting to semi-finals, finals, and hopefully winning them as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon. And just finally, Phil Medlicott from PA.
Hi, David.
Hi, Phil.
I was wondering your thoughts on Southampton. I mean, you've had some pretty tough battles with them already this season. It seems perhaps they're a bit of a rising force. Is that how you would regard them?
Yeah, I think Southampton's form recently has been very good. I think they played excellent at Tottenham the other week there. I think they're in a good vein of form, they really are. I think the Premier League at different times in the season does that. You have teams who are in form and maybe teams not quite so good. So I think Southampton were one of those sides. Yeah, we've had interesting games over the years against them. At the moment, Southampton came out on top in the last league game against us here. So we know it's going to be a really difficult game.
Do you see them as potentially being in the mix for the European places this season, or is it a bit early for that in terms of their development?
I mean, a good run of form keeps you in there with all the time. You keep your momentum going. I think they've been on a very good run of form with Southampton. Southampton have been. So I think they've recovered from probably which looked like a bit of a difficult start, and I think they're doing very well at the moment.